All right, in this video we're gonna take a look at implementing the reporting feature for this time-taking application, time tracking. And actually one thing that I want to change is that here the home folder is not gonna be exactly this. So actually it should be, home folder should be Chrono home, and then we should have yet another folder which we can call Chrono data, and it's going to be there. So we could also make it a hidden folder like this, but I don't want to do that. All right, so I think if we just let's call this var. Then we can say Chrono home is this. So this is 41, and this is, so that's 11 plus 1, that is actually 12. I think we need one more for the end. So we'll copy that stuff in. And there's also something called strcat. I didn't know about that, but it makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So we concatenate that thing in, and now I guess the end should be all right. Let's try to run this, and now we have this top folder that will contain things. I think that's a better idea. I think that's a better idea. So let's have a look at this one. And actually let me do this. Right, so I cleaned it up. I don't know if you remember that I accidentally made some horrible looking folders, and I've cleaned that up now. So now if we run this, it should do something. So now we have Chrono data. Chrono data. And in there's some stuff. So Chrono data, tiny game, AI, enemy skeleton, and then some time information there. So that looks correct. And for the purpose of this video, I think let's do the following. Let's say that this was actually 100, and let's add something in here. This will just be test. Maybe that's 200, and we can also add something in here that we will say is test 2, and maybe that's 12 seconds. And finally, let's make another folder that we can call like level design, and inside level design we'll add yet another one, and that will be 500. Actually, let's add more, something like, so this is 1 hour. Oh, is it? So 60 seconds, 60 minutes. Yeah, this is 1 hour. I don't know, let's do that, whatever. So now we have some test data. So what we're gonna run now is not this stuff, but we're gonna run Chrono with the report command. This is all we're gonna do right now. So let's say return report command. We'll take that stuff as well. So we have the return code, we have this guy, and the arguments. So we'll need some functions. Actually, the first thing we'll need is to get the home variable. So I think we should factor this out. And do I have this key binding here? I think I do. So here we have Chrono home is get Chrono home. Great, and that will be get Chrono home. Doesn't take any arguments, and let's paste that stuff. And we're gonna return Chrono home. So actually one thing we forgot is that this stuff, just to have good habits, should be freed, but of course it shouldn't be freed here. We can free it in the end. Okay, but same thing here. We need to get the home folder. So get Chrono home, and then we can free it. And just by default, we return a successful exit code. And now we want to kind of like look through this folder. So how do we do that in C? Well, there is this function called opendir. And as you can see up here, we need the sys.types header and we need the dir end header. We already have sys.types. So let's include the dir end. And now we can open it. You just open it by name and you get this dir thing. So let's have a look at what can happen. So on error, null is returned and error number is set appropriately. So if dir is null, let's just say there was some kind of error, and error opening directory, this directory that we tried to open, and the error number. So do we have to close it as well, actually? C also close dir, it says, so I guess that means yes. Yes, we have to close it. So let's do that now before we forget. Okay, so now we have it opened, but we need actually information from it. So for that we need this read dir function. It requires dir end again. So let's say here we have the directory. So let's call it entry, right? Why not? And it takes the dir thing that we got from before. Okay, so it returns a pointer to a dir entry representing the next directory entry in the directory stream. So this is like a stream, and every time we read it, we go to the next element in the stream. So that means we can actually do something like this, and we can say while the entry equal to that is not null, then we keep reading stuff. So what kind of information do we get here? So it's a little bit hard to see. That's a little bit better. So this dir end thing that's returned is this structure here, and it has, amongst other things, it has this dname. So why don't we just print that dname? And it's a character, so we can just say entry dname and print that. So let's try to run it and see what happens. And it didn't compile. Because I accidentally misspelled here, it's not direct, it's dir end. So here you can see the D name. So we have dot dot and we have dot and we have tiny game. And actually, just to make sure we handle every case, let's go into Chrono data and let's put a file here, which it will also be kind of like timing. And then let's run it again, because now you can see we also have this file test thingy. So we need to account for that. Now the first thing is, let's say entry.dname 0, if that is a dot, exactly, then we skip that. So we don't have those kind of like fake folders or whatever you want to call it. Because we don't wanna look at them. So now we have to check what kind of file it is. If it's a file, we want to read the time information. If it's a folder, we want to go into that and get some more information. So we have to look at this D type of file, and let's see what kind of things that can be. So here is the documentation for that entry. And there's some values here: BLK, block device, character device, directory, probably relevant, named pipe, symbolic link, regular file, Unix domain socket, and this unknown. So we are only going to be concerned with directory and regular file. So let's make a switch thing, switch statement. So is it a directory? We do one thing. Why is it indenting like that? That's very annoying. So I'm gonna actually put it here. If it's a regular file, we do another thing. And anything else, we are going to say, actually, we're not going to do anything. We will just break. In principle, it's an error, or people can put things there, but maybe we'll print a warning to std error, which is already what for file. It's already what Copilot is suggesting. So let's do entry name. So file for file, this name has this error, this type, and we don't support that. All right. So what are we gonna do if we hit a directory, and what are we gonna do if we hit a file? So now I think it's time to introduce a new type that kind of encapsulates the information we want to extract, and I think I'm going to call it Chrono report. And this will be kind of like this will be a tree, right? It will be a tree, so we'll need a pointer to the children and number of children. It's called end children. And each node in the tree will hold some information. It will be, so also we should have like a name for the tree, sure. And in our example here, there will be like a node for TinyGame, there will be a node for TinyGame.ai, there will be a node for TinyGame.levelDesign, and so on. And so the node will have a name. The node will also have some timing information. And I think that's all we need. But what is the timing? Timings. The timings is, first of all, it's a list of times. So let's say times, or sure, why not? It's also a number of times, but I think we also want to store the name. So you can see that on this date at this time, you spent so and so much time. So actually, maybe we need another type, and I'm going to call it items now. And this will be count, and this will be capacity. So now it has this dynamic array structure that we used in another video, where we can use this macro that first it checks if the capacity exceeds the count. If it does, we double the capacity and then we reallocate things. And then we should also assert that the reallocation worked. And then once that is done, we actually assign the new item. So we have this very nifty append thing. The only thing I want to change is that I don't like to pass it by reference. I would like to pass it by pointer. So we have to do this. Now this is kind of like implicitly a pointer. Okay, so now we have this stuff. We also need the time info. Time info. And what will be in the time info? There will be, first of all, a name. Let's call it a tag, and then there will be elapsed time. Elapsed seconds, probably good. Okay. So I think that should be it. This is kind of this. Let's take this guy and put him on the top. So I think these three types kind of encapsulate what we want to get. So let's make something that kind of like gathers the report, and it will gather it for a given folder. Right. So I'm not sure why it's by pointer, but it's by pointer now. So result is this guy, and we're going to return the result. Now we need also some way to free all this stuff. So I think we're gonna ignore that for now, but maybe that's something we'll do at a later time. Okay. So now actually the first thing we want to do in here is we want to gather the top level report. Maybe we just do like this. So Chrono home. And then we have the report, and all this stuff will be encapsulated in there, in here. Okay. Now it's not this stuff, it's just folder. Okay. So what happens if we hit a directory? Then actually we want to get subreport. So we want to gather a report for the subfolder. And we need to be careful because the name of the entry is only this, like this part. It's not the full path. So we need to make the full path. So let's make something like this, and we need the length of the current one. We need a separator, and then we need the length of the folder name plus 1. So we make this like temporary variable on the stack. Then we can do printf into the string, and we can do like this. And the first thing is the folder, and the second thing is this thing. Then we should also do exactly this. At the very end we put a thingy. So maybe we should just use this stuff because it's a little bit more. So str_cat, and then we can say concatenate that one, and then we'll also concatenate this. So now it should be okay. This is a little bit more easy to read, so that's nice. Okay, so we get the subreport, and then we can actually say, let's append to the result the subreport. But that requires that this is called items, and this is called count, and this is called capacity. So one more thing we need to do is say result name is, let's allocate it and then string copy it. Then we have to init timings. Then we have to init items, let's say. So result count can be 0. What's the capacity? Capacity can be 8, that's fine. And then we allocate that stuff. So now when I append down here, it's just treating it as a dynamic array. So let's also fix the timings. So result timings, sure, sure, and sure. And that's good. Maybe we extract this to a separate function later, but for now it's fine. Okay, so if we hit a directory, we actually just go into that directory and get the report from there. Let me get rid of that thing. I hadn't noticed that was still there. So we gather the report, we add it to the result, and that's it. So down here, so let's summarize that as add a sub report. And here add a timing. And that means first we have to read the file. Read the file, convert content to a number, make a timing, make a time info. All right, so what is the file name? The file name is something like this. And we'll do this trick again. Now, this should probably be a function, all this stuff. But whatever, we'll make that, and then we should remember to close it at the end. Now to read it, we can use this function, I think, fread. We already have stdio. So we can say how many, well, that's a good point. We should check if it's null. If we're not able to read a file, I think we'll just like fully exit the program, because I don't want to think about what happens if we keep going on. So anyway, here we can say bytes read. Yeah, bytes read. So we're gonna read into the buffer. Sorry, we need a buffer. We need a buffer indeed. So how many digits could we possibly need? I think 32 is probably all right. It's probably even too many. So it's in seconds. How much is a million seconds? A million seconds is 27,000 hours. So many. So it's very unlikely that I'm going to spend 3 years on one single work session. So I think, like, let's do 8 bytes. I think we can suffer here. So the size of the element is 1 byte, and read 8 of those, and we read it from the file. Great. Now we can turn it into seconds, this stuff. Maybe we should also say, yeah, we need to terminate it so nothing weird happens at the end. Okay, so we do that. Then we also need, here, now we have the elapsed seconds. We also need the tag. So what is the the timing tag is going to be the name of the folder, and then we do this, and then we can say time info here, where the tag is the timing tag and the elapsed seconds is the elapsed seconds. Then we need to append that. So we append it to the timings, and there we go. Right, I think that should work. We can try to run it. It doesn't compile. So let's do the first one. And it shouldn't be Chrono Home, it should just be folder. And it shouldn't return one, that doesn't make any sense. We need to just exit. We don't have assert. And what is this? Right. So down here, this is a pointer, but actually we need to do something like this, and then maybe that's okay. Okay, so it runs, but we cannot do anything with the report. We just get the report, and then we're happy. So let's let's make another function, print report. And what's that gonna do? Print report, take a report pointer and do some stuff. So what is the total time spent here? So let's get that. So total elapsed is get total elapsed for this report. Which takes a report. Then it sums up the current timings. It then gets the total elapsed for the children. So sum of my timings, sum of children timings, and then it does that. So we can print that, and actually let's say get the name, and we'll say total is this many seconds, and let's try to run that. So we now we can start to do something. But you can see the name is not super nice. The name is just the folder name. So maybe that'll be okay for now. This minor optimization. Minor optimization. The next thing we need is to also report the children. So let's say for I less than report count, we're also gonna print the report for the children. And let's see what happens now. So now we get all of it. And we can see how it's spread out. So we spent an hour on level design, and we spent 112 seconds on the AI. And in total, this project, Tiny Games, spent 3,912 seconds. And this all of the projects spent 4,000 200 seconds. But it's not quite enough because, well, this could be okay, but we also want to be able to report like the individual elements. So I'm just gonna call it show individual. Then we'll say if show individual. Then we are going to loop through the timings. So we gotta get the timings count I plus plus, and then we are going to go up here and we're gonna see that we need to print f of something like this. So the tag and then the elapsed seconds. So let's try to run that, and that didn't work because now this is kind of like an extra tag, which in the end we'll read that from the command line arguments, but for now to do read from argv. But for now it will be hard coded. So we also need that here, and now you can see we have this this nice thing. I will try to do something now. Let's say, actually, how does this get Chrono Home work, by the way? It does allocate some stuff, which is a bit annoying, but maybe it shouldn't allocate. Maybe it should. Let's make a constant pointer that is like Chrono Home, and it will be null to begin with. And then we're going to say if Chrono Home is not null, we can return that. But otherwise, we do this stuff where we actually do like that and like that. So now we always have the home thing available. So now I can, without having to think about freeing it, and do I do that here? Well, here it's probably fine. Here it is fine. And here in the time command, it's also fine. But then I can use it in the sub functions. So gather ports. Here I can just say Chrono Home. I can just get that. And now I can say, okay, actually I don't want to include that. And I don't want to copy that part either. So let's try something like this and see what happens. Right, so now we can see that first one actually ends up having no tag, no name. So we should also check if, sorry, let's do like this and say size t name length is this. If, however, if name length equals 0, then we increase it by 1, and no, wait, so it will always have 1, so but if it is 1, then we add 1 more, and then we say here if name length equals 2, we'll just say that the name is actually, well, how do we do that? So maybe we say like, yeah, is the root. So if it is the root, then we do something. What do we want to call it? maybe we just call it root, and then actually this one should be 5. And here we'll say, if it is the root, then we do this. Now if we run it, it will say root colon something. And maybe I want to make it like that. Sure. Right. Now I would like to do something. So let's clean the name. Let's clean the name, and by that I mean we are going to replace all of the slashes with dots. So exactly that. Now if sorry, so we need to do this, and we actually have to also increment the pointer, so we go to the next one. And now we also have to remember to say while the pointer is equal to the slash, we just skip that. So skip first slash, and that did not work. Right, because then we skip it, we never replace it. So what do we want to do actually? We want to change where the thing starts. So we could actually say this kind of stuff. Okay, so then we have the tiny game, or maybe we want to do something else actually. So let's do this, and then we'll just say, sorry, I'm kind of fucking it up. So this thing should be a dash. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So we have this project is this thing. It has one item which is 200 seconds, and now we have a very nice report. The final thing that I want to do right now is to fix it so we don't report it in seconds, because that's a little bit weird. So let's say we have the total elapsed. So let's get total hours, I think is fine. Total minutes, it's this, and total seconds. And then we'll do something like this. Total hours, total minutes, total seconds. So now when we run this, at least here at the top level, it will say 1 hour, I guess it's fine. 1 hour, 10 minutes, 24 seconds. It kind of looks a little bit janky, so let's do this maybe. Make sure there's always two digits. We might change that, but then we should do the same here. We should do size t timing total is this thing. We can copy paste this, and we can say total. Let's replace that timing total. And we kind of need the same thing here. And whoops, timing total. And now, right, this one we just collapsed. So now we have the same formatting for everything. And I think that's it. So let's maybe make a list of to-dos. So filter on dates. That would be nice, that you can say, I only want it for this date range. I only want to report things for this date range. And maybe let's actually hop on that. We also have this thing that we should, but maybe I'll do that another time, maybe off screen. So let's add it to the to-do then. Another thing we don't handle is read like sub-project only. That is actually something that's kind of critical, so I think we should do it now. So we can say if argc is greater than 2, then we have, let's say, the project key is this thing. And then we should just add it to this. So I want to say like a top folder maybe. And here top folder is just going to be that pointer. And otherwise the top folder will be just this. But actually we need one more thing. So let's say first of all we want to print into the top folder this kind of string, and it's going to be the home folder, and then it's going to be the project folder. So we also need to make project folder, and that is going to be the same length as this guy. And what it's going to do is, let's say make project folder, and it takes the key. Make project folder, takes the key. And it will just be the length of the key, and I don't know why this stuff was done. And then we are going to say, let's have a pointer to the start of the result, and a pointer to the start of the key. And then we're going to say while the key is not null, what are we going to do? We're going to say if the value of the key is a dot, then the value of the result is actually a slash, and otherwise we just assign the value itself, and then we return that result. Then we have top folder, and we can actually free the project folder here just in case. So now let's run it again, and that didn't. I already had that function, make project folder. Right. So maybe I should just reuse that, but then I need to make string views from the key, which I do believe we have a function for sv from string. And let's also do so make project folder. And now I can say make project folder from the project, Chrono home string view and the project key string view. And actually I don't need to do this, I can just assign. And I think that should be enough. Arguably this was, I don't know which is better. So let's do this, and let's say here, why did it be from str? It is not pointers. So just do away with that. And this guy doesn't work. Sorry, and that is top folder is equal to that. Okay, compiles. But now if I say, okay, give me the reports only for the AI stuff, I run that and it does not work. Let me get rid of this window. So it doesn't work, so let's print what is the project key actually. The project key is this thing. And what does the top folder end up being? The top folder is this. And what do we give it here? We give it Chrono home, so of course that's wrong, so we gotta give the top folder. And there we go. So now I can also say, just give me the report for a specific project. So I can say, give me the reports for Tiny Game, and it doesn't work. But I can do .ai and also doesn't work. Because we need to export the Chrono home, so forgot about that. Now if I say Tiny Game, it will give me a bunch of stuff. I can say, okay, only AI, and I can say only level design. And I can say also this. So I just had a thought, another to do. That one is done. So we can also say show only available projects. So it would be something like Chrono report list and then folder or project start. And that would just list what's in there. But that's for another time. So I think that's it for now. We have the core functionality, and it's very cool, very cool. So let me know what you think of this, if you have any suggestions or anything, any thoughts. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.